All right, should we stand for pledge of allegiance? Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Connie, I just have a motion to make this kick us off.
Yes, thank you. I would like to motion that we elect Dominic Pileggi as president of Concord Township Council and John Gillespie and John Crossan as vice presidents of council.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you for your confidence, I guess. But anyway, citizen comment. I don't see anybody out there, so we're good with that. We are going to, this is our first meeting of the year, so we're required to make a ton of appointments and a ton of housekeeping items, so you're going to have to bear with us for a few minutes, but we're going to get through as quickly as I can. We're going to appoint the following township officials and professionals. First is Amanda Sirach as Township Manager and Secretary. Open Record Officer Lisa Waldron. Tax Collector Lou Girolami. Vacancy Board Chair Marge Frank. Emergency Management Coordinator Fred Field. Fire Marshal and Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator Robert Bassett. Township Solicitor and Alternate Open Records Officer Donahue and Labrum, LLP, U.A. Donahue. Sewer Department Solicitor Jerry Montella. Zoning Hearing Board Solicitor Ray Falzone Jr. Alternate Zoning Board Solicitor Jerry Montella. Sean O'Neill has retired. Planning Commission Solicitor Michael Wraith. Township and Traffic Engineer Pannoni Associates Nate Klein. Township Sewer Engineer HRG Incorporated Walt Fazler. Township Land Planner Landscaping and Lighting Services Thomas Committa Associates Thomas Committa. Certified Public Accountants for Financial Auditing Lightsell and Economides. Animal Control Officers Brandywine Valley SPCA and Alan Strickler. Third Party Inspection and Plan Review BIU Code Enforcement. And lastly, third-party electrical inspector, Code Inspectors, Inc., and United Inspecting Agency. Do we have a motion to approve those appointments?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next, appointments to the following committees. The Building Board Code of Appeal. These are all one-year terms. I think these are all returning members and the solicitor. Joseph Barbado, Joe Clift, Jerry DiGiacomo, Frank Romana, and Michael Wraith as solicitor. Do we have a motion to make those appointments?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We also need the motion to establish bonds in the amount of $1 million for the Township Treasurer, $500,000 for the Assistant Township Manager, and $857,141 for the Tax Collector. Do we have a motion to establish those bonds?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We also have to designate the Concordville Fire and Protective Association for the fire EMS services to serve Concord Township. Do we have a motion?
I so move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We also have to designate the Spirit, the News and Press of Delaware County, and the Delaware County Daily Times as newspapers of general circulation for publication of township notices. Do we have a motion for that, please?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And we have to designate the official delegate to the PSATS convention, John Gillespie. Do we have a motion to do so?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying John.
John.
John, I want to say this is the 6th Township magazine. It still has your picture there getting an award.
You must be jealous, that's all I can say.
Or they must have a slow news day up there in Leola. All right, we were going to recognize the Concord Hero Memorial Committee, but in light of weather, we're going to postpone them for a month. Upcoming events, we have on January 8th, the Historic Commission, January 15th, the Zoning Hearing Board, January 16th, Park and Rec Board, January 21st, Planning Commission, January 20th, Holiday Township Office is closed. In talking to some of my colleagues before the meeting, in light of the weather and the cold and possibly getting ice on the road, are we okay with just having all the reports entered into the record? Okay, all good. All right, absolutely. All right. Solicitor, do you have anything to report?
I do, just very briefly. First of all, thank you for the reappointment. I appreciate it. Secondly, Mr. and Amanda, correct me if I'm wrong, but Mr. DiCarlo, the gentleman that lives behind the Wawa off of Naaman's Creek Road back in that area. Township has some open space behind that Wawa, and there has been some issues concerning a shed, a fence, and a possible swimming pool being located on township property. And my suggestion to the landowner and to you folks is that if he's willing to pay for the subdivision and also for the survey to make sure everything lines up, and I'm talking a difference of like 10 feet. My recommendation would be both to council and to that gentleman and his family that he do so. I'm not asking you for your a vote on that this evening, but I would like to indicate to him that we would like to sort of move in that direction and certainly explore it. But I leave that up to this. I leave it up to council.
So
How you'd like me to
he built a
proceed.
swimming pool that encroaches on our land?
He didn't.
It's not
The
Bill-
people before.
Bill Van Bell, who,
And we didn't own the land at that
we
time.
didn't know exactly.
It was given to us.
He's behind the Wawa.
6 acres. Yeah.
And it's a very tiny sliver, and for some reason, you would have to go back 20 years or so, I would think.
Yes.
Yes. It ends up encroaching on this property, so we just went to a little lot line adjustment to get it done.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, go ahead.
And I was going to say, I think there's also, we may find similar issues with I think we own 22 acres up around Patriot Circle in that area, and I think from just visual, just driving by, it looks like there may be some sheds and other things. So I think once we reestablish our boundaries, we may have to be doing more of this.
So do you need any action from us, or?
No, just are you folks going to give me the approval or the okay at least to continue the dialogue to see where we go?
I see no problem with it. I think it's a good way to get out of the, solve this thing once and for all. It's been out there for a lot of years. So if everyone's in concurrence, I think we'll let Mr. Dunn go ahead and get the thing started. Larry, you got anything you good with it? Or?
No, I mean,
I think
that's
once
kind
you
of
see,
the-
I think
the
once we
best
see this,
option.
once we see the survey plan, we'll be better able to understand it. But I think we should start with a survey plan.
And then one last thing, if you'll recall, Carmen Lincoln Mercury, the location that had been approved on Route 202, it sort of has been in abeyance for the last 2.5 years. The zoning hearing board had given the applicant a special exception for the car dealership. And then he filed land development plans which were approved, although not filed. However, the zoning hearing board has a policy in place, in fact it's part of the ordinance, that you must pull your building permit within 6 months of the approval. In this case, for a variety of reasons, that was not done. And the applicant wanted to desire was just to proceed. I indicated to them that no, they're going to have to go back to the zoning hearing board. It seems to me it's pro forma, but you're going to have to go back to the zoning hearing board in February to just get their approval and okay again before you proceed with your development. Just want to keep you in the loop.
Hugh, what is the status of Aiello, the property we own that I think we authorized you and Amanda to take action for sale of that. Is there any status update on where that stands?
Yes, sort of, kind of, sort of. And the kind of, sort of is that I believe that the school district is willing to forego the full payment of taxes together with the interest, etc. And I'm sort of just waiting to hear from the county along those lines, and then we can just wrap it up and then do with it what you want.
Okay, so we're just establishing everyone's claim to their tax burden,
Correct.
be it with interest or the principal, and then once we've established that, we can move forward with the sale.
Correct.
Okay, very good.
Nate is not here this evening. Amanda, any report?
I just would like to really thank our staff who came in the early hours doing plowing and working with our contractors. And Dan runs the Public Works Department and does a phenomenal job, and our crew does a phenomenal job. And our sewer department as well helped out and made sure this building was open so we could have this meeting tonight. So I just want to thank them. They're unsung heroes on these days. Thanks.
We were providing for citizen comment earlier in the agenda. Ma'am, I just saw you walk in. You have anything you want to add for tonight? Okay, so we're going to go through with the agenda. Next is the business items, which is the consent agenda. We'll be approving the council public meeting minutes of December 3rd, 2024. Dana, it looks like we have to pay some bills.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. Total expenditures is $1,036,132.55, consisting of December payroll, which is $241,864.37, township bills totaling $503,720.27, and sewer bills totaling $290,547.91.
Okay, and also, Dana, I think we're doing a fund balance transfer.
Yes, so our finance director is proposing to transfer $1,500,000 from the sewer operating fund to the sewer capital fund, as the sewer operating fund is projected fund balance in excess of maximum 30% allowable policy threshold.
Okay. John Gillespie, I think you're going to do the next four.
Four items. Yes, sir. The certificate of payment, number 3 for more construction for the work being finished at Smithbridge Park for $196,616.52. This is a partial payment. Also, we have Pulte Homes on Wilmington Westchester Pike for $3,058,609.17. That's also a partial payment. And we have authorization to advertise bids for the sewer plant fire suppression system. 0 bids were received on December the 6th, so we need to rebid the project. And also that same day, we took bids on the community center fire suppression system, and the recommendation is to award to Cooper Mechanical Solutions in the amount of $156,000.
Okay, thank you. We also, as part of our reorganization, have a number of resolutions to pass that are basically housekeeping items. I'm going to go through them. They are part of the consent agenda. Anybody wishing to get into more detail on these, they are available on the website. A lot of them are the same appointments each and every year. The Resolution 1 of 2025, appointing the tax collector. Resolution 2 of 2025, the local services tax collector. Resolution 3 of 2025, appointing the amusement tax collector. Number 4 of 2025 is also listing the official bank depositories. Number 5 of 2025 lists the township fee schedules. The only changes in that was to increase the per square foot of construction for new construction. So when a building permit comes in, it's adjusted accordingly for the increased cost in construction. And also, we always update the fee in lieu in that also. That number are probably the only 2 changes you'll see in that whole voluminous resolution. Resolution 6 sets the township sewer rates and fees. There we reset the township EDU fee to $6,151. We do this every calendar year. And there's a formula that's available if you'd like to see it of how that's calculated. Resolution 7 establishes the professional fees. Resolution 8 appoints the township manager. Resolution 9 appoints the IRS mileage reimbursement. Resolution 10, the county aid resolution. And Resolution 11, the meeting and holiday schedule. And there are no plans complete for filing or any applications in. Do I have a motion to approve the consent?
Could I interrupt for a second? One thing I forgot to announce on the community center fire suppression system, that award to Cooper Mechanical Solutions for $156,000. That's contingent upon the review and approval of the site design plans and an updated COI listing the township as additional insured.
Okay. That being said, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Anita?
I so moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Amanda, I guess we could roll into these next 3. They're all going to be you since I don't think Nate's here. You can opine or chime in whenever he needs to. We have the ARPA projects update, the Octorara Trail update, and a recodification project update. So, all's in your court.
Sure. In terms of ARPA projects, we've been rolling along on those projects. We had one that we awarded right before the end of the year. Others that will pick up in the new year because we needed to get some permitting that had to do with stormwater management, basically, and fixing some basins with the DEP. We need some permits, so that sort of got lagged. But we are all good, on track for the end of the year with everything that we were required to do by the state. So we're good in that bucket. We have some IT things still that are rolling through with cameras around the building as well for the ARPA. Octorara Trail update. I'm still waiting on SEPTA to discuss with us. There is a pedestrian bridge that was designed that now may need to have vehicle access. So we're working through that with them, and what their specifications are going to be. And once we know more from them, that agreement will get tied up. At a previous meeting, council had authorized Q and I to execute those agreements. So we'll have no lag time once we actually get it. But everything has been same terms. We're just waiting on that bridge portion of that to learn a little bit more. That project is continuing, though. We have been giving our information into the state for their reviews, and we're continuing to meet monthly on that, myself, John Gillespie, and our engineers. The next one was the recodification project update. So we have finally, and Hugh, feel free to jump in. This has been an extremely lengthy process. As you know, as part of us becoming a home rule charter, we had to recodify our entire ordinance book to meet the language of our new rules and laws. So simplifying that, some of that had to do, just used to be called supervisors, now your council. Other things like that had to do with some legal processes and modernization. We've just received those books and the information. We now will be holding a hearing. Hugh and I are trying to work out dates for that. Tentatively, we're trying to see if we can piggyback that with some ordinance work we plan to do on January 28th as a first hearing as part of that discussion. I will note that as part of that recodification process and where we're at as part of those hearings, there cannot be substantial changes made. So any actual changes folks want to have to some of these ordinances that we've been talking about have to happen separately in the ordinance process outside of the recodification process. So I just want to make that clear for council's perspective of what you're going to have before you and really what you're reviewing.
It's locked at this point.
It's basically locked in. So we are going through the process there. Legal folks have reviewed and made sure all the language and everything is lining up as it's supposed to on our site. So I just wanted to point that out. All of the new laws that you see now will be codified in, and then anything that comes after, like our budget and some of those that are coming after, will then sit in new laws until they get reincorporated after a couple months. We do this every couple months, so we're not spending a ton of money. But anyway, that's all I have on those. Do you want me to talk about the ground leases, or are you?
One point of order. So I think we're looking for a motion, Amanda, that when you deem it appropriate to go ahead and advertise for the adoption of this ordinance.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I think as a point of order, I think we're looking for a motion from council to give you permission to advertise when you deem it appropriate for the hearings.
Sure, great.
Would we have a motion?
I so move.
Second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
With regard to projects, what's this? I know it's not an ARPA project, but the roundabout and everything like that. I know we were originally targeting that in the summer. Is that getting pushed now?
So basically that'll start, we believe that that'll start sort of end of summer, early fall. We will phase that project to make that work. We're still on Smithbridge Road for the roundabout project. We have been running into some issues. Hugh, you can pop in on the acquisition portion of that. Has been a long holdup. I mean, there were holdups previous to that had to do with 3 million things, but now we're held up in the acquisition portion of that project. So once we have that tied up, everything goes back to PennDOT, gets approvals, goes out for bids, and we're hoping that we can get some of that work started, like in terms of the trails and some of the intersection things that don't require closure, because the roundabout itself, I think, requires 6 weeks of closure of that intersection.
Right, so I mean, that's why I know we had previously been targeting the summer to avoid any interruption with school.
Yes.
calendar, but that.
However, we just had the bridge out.
Yeah.
And that, so now we know that we can make it work if we need to. So that's why I think everybody feels a little more comfortable with a timeline shift again, unfortunately.
Okay, all good. The next three have to do with the Bush Hill Farms. First is Resolution 12 of 2025, which is a ground lease for Bush Hill Farms for Leslie Burkheiser. This is, again, at the corner of Garnet Mine and Bethel Road. Leslie grazes 2 horses there, and every year we've been renewing her lease. We only give her a 1-year lease. So we'd like a resolution to let her continue there for this calendar year. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, next is Resolution 13, which is the same location except with different horse lady. Catherine Protesto and Cindy Garcia. So same drill. Do we have a motion and a second to extend the lease for another year?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The last one's a little different. It's not for horses, it's for 40 goats and 3 sheep.
Actually, I think some of the sheep and goats have died, so there aren't that many.
Oh.
But we say not to exceed.
Yeah,
So
not to exceed.
They haven't
Anyway,
exceeded.
we have, okay. All right. Anyway, we've had this lease now for a few years, and it's an in-kind lease to Jonathan Trapeo. And we actually use the goats to help clear and grub overgrown areas of the township. And the rental payment to us is that he lets them graze there behind the fence. And it's actually a very attractive thing for kids to see and go there, look at the goats and the sheep and everything else. Did we feed them the Christmas trees this year?
Yeah, not yet because the trees had to be held off because of the weather. Today was the tree pickup, but we will be feeding them
the old
Christmas
Christmas
trees.
trees, and they can go through a Christmas tree like I can go through a rack of ribs. But anyway, it's all good. Do we have a motion to approve that one? Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. The one had more horses, that's why it's more money. She does, yeah. That's right. 3 is more than 2. Okay. Next is Resolution 15 of 2025, which is the preliminary final land development for the Celebrate School of Glen Mills. We don't have the drawing or anything? Nate would have it up already. Why Nate would have it up.
So that's the existing conditions.
Okay,
Yeah.
you guys are from Celebrate, your name?
I'm from Colliers,
Okay.
engineering.
Alright,
So
cool.
David Walensky from Colliers.
If I understand, there's a bit of background. This is a building that was built many years ago and has remained vacant, and looks like they have a tenant, I assume,
Yes.
that is going to take the space and convert it into a daycare school, correct?
Correct.
And you are the engineer, and I think you had to come back to the planning commission to make some modifications to add for a playground area, which I think was the bulk, if not all, of the alterations to the land development plan.
Correct.
Do you have that plan? Can you just show us what that is real quick?
That right there is the site plan. We received comments from the township engineer, so that plan has been revised slightly. The playground area has decreased in size to be 20 feet back from the ultimate right-of-way to comply with the setback rules. So if you, I think it's about 6,000 square feet in that drawing. Now it's closer to 5,200 square feet.
Okay. It appears that all our engineers and consultants have looked at it, and the resolution before us would be to approve it subject to a number of conditions. My colleagues don't mind. I think I'll read the conditions into the record, and then we can ask questions or vote on it however we want to do. So it would be number 1, compliance with all comments contained in the Pannoni review letter dated December 9th, 2024, attached as Exhibit A. Number 2, compliance with all comments contained in the fire marshal's email dated November 15th, 2024, attached as Exhibit B. Number 3, closeout and resolution of all outstanding administrative items regarding the prior project with the township and PennDOT prior to construction. Number 4, plans are to be submitted in electronic format acceptable to the township engineer. Number 5, lighting and landscaping must be maintained per the recorded plan and replaced in kind as needed. Any substitution is subject to the approval of the township. Number 6, lighting plans shall be provided, inclusive of all exterior building and site lighting modification and fire marshal requirement for additional review by the township engineer and fire marshal prior to the plan recording. Number 7, developer agrees to enter into a development and improvement security agreement prior to release of the signed plans. Number 8, fencing and playground to be relocated such that the required front yard setback is made. And lastly, the proposed parking exceeds minimum requirements for the proposed daycare use. However, any future use for the remaining building not utilized by the daycare or subject to expansion by the daycare will require zoning officer review prior to additional building, zoning, or occupancy permits. It also is the granting of one waiver from 169H to permit a joint preliminary final subdivision. Would we have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Would we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You're free to go.
Thank you.
Good luck with your project.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And you're in agreement with all the conditions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then you'll see the township manager and sign off. Thank you.
Okay, no, all good. Now, good luck with that. It's a very nice building. I'm glad somebody's finally using it. Be careful driving back.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is Resolution 16 of 2025. During our budget hearings, we had mentioned that the Concordville Fire Company and Ambulance Service was looking for additional funds from the township. And as part of our budget passing, we did raise the real estate taxes, the portion that's devoted strictly to the fire company in order to meet their needs. As part of that negotiation with them, council felt it would be prudent to get from them a 5-year commitment in the fees that they're charging the township. So this is basically a contract between Concord Township, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, and the Concordville Fire and Protective Association, which would be executed tonight and would run through December 31st of 2029, and would set the annual fire company fee of approximately $656,000 per year, and it translates to 0.1683 mils, and an allocation of the local services tax revenue equal to but not less than 25% of collection. So this was I don't think there's any argument that we have a great fire company, a great rescue company, and we can't afford as a township and as to not have them there to respond to us when we need them. So I would ask for a motion and a second on this resolution.
I so move.
Second. Second. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, with that, my colleagues, since I have recused myself from the Sampkin David Dodge plan, I'm going to hand the official ceremonial gavel and the gavel hitter. Bless me, I'm going to leave you guys so you can talk about this. Wow.
Water.
John, don't let it go to your head, buddy.
All right, so in front of us, we have resolution number 17, 2024, conditional use decision, Sampkin 322 LLC, 830 Conchester Road, Concordville, PA. So whereas an application for conditional use approval to redevelop the property with a car wash and a motor vehicle sales agency pursuant to the Concord Township zoning ordinance, section 210-127D, parenthesis 10, has been submitted by Sampkin 322 LLC, hereinafter the applicant, in connection with the property located at 830 Conchester Road, Concordville, PA, folio number 13-00-00238-00. And whereas the applicant sought a special exception under section 210-127C, parenthesis 2, the Concord Township zoning code to permit a motor vehicle sales agency at the subject property, which application was heard by the Concord Township Zoning Hearing Board on September the 18th, 2024, and which the Zoning Hearing Board granted on October 16th, 2024, with conditions which are set forth in the letter dated October 17, 2024, a copy of which is attached hereto and incorporated herein as Exhibit A. And whereas the Concord Township conducted public hearings on the application for conditional use approval to redevelop the property with a car wash and a motor vehicle sales agency, pursuant to public notice on November 6, 2024 and December 16, 2024 at the Concord Township Municipal Building, 43 Thornton Road, Glen Mills, PA. And whereas the Council of Concord Township finds, based on the evidence produced at the public hearings, that the approval of this application for conditional use will not adversely affect the welfare, health, peace, or morals of the Township of Concord or its residents. Now therefore, the Council of the Township of Concord, County of Delaware, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, is hereby resolved and state that the application for conditional use to redevelop the property with a car wash and a motor vehicle sales agency is granted, conditioned upon the applicant keeping all activities related to the car wash, including the storage of materials within the car wash building, and also complying with each of the 7 conditions set forth in the Zoning Hearing Board letter of October 17, 2024. Exhibit A, which is attached here too and incorporated herein. So, approved and resolved by the Council of Concord at its public meeting as of this date. That is the reading of the resolution. Could I get a motion for approval?
So moved.
Get a second?
Second.
Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I think that takes care of it. Nobody in the audience is representing them, so the next item on the agenda would be adjournment. So we have a motion for adjournment.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
See you guys. Happy New Year.
Good night, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.